Okay, so it's 4:24 on the 1st. Yesterday I went back up and put a second coat on my dresser that I was doing, and my fingernails are just dirty. I swear to God, they're always dirty. I have to clean them a zillion times a day. But I put baggies over my hands so they didn't get so messy. And I don't remember, there's a reason why I was saying that, but I don't remember what it was. God, it is a fucking steam bath in here. I've got both fans blaring. It is so fucking hot. And it's supposed to be over 100 today, over 100 tomorrow, so it's just going to stay hot until I leave. And I'm going to spend the night, Tuesday night at my daughter's house, and they blast the air conditioner. It's like, shit, it's so cold in their house. But it's so hot in here. But what was I going to say? So, oh yeah, because my mom was saying today about going up and floating because it's gonna probably be the last time for the summer. And I was not gonna do it anymore, because I was like, man, there's just bacteria and stuff in the lake and stuff. But then the other girl who we go up there with, she was calling saying, oh, who wanted to go float yesterday? And my mom said, well, not today, but tomorrow we will. And so, I was like, fuck, it's gonna be over 100 degrees. That one day when it was 80 degrees, it said 81 degrees on the thing, when I went on to Apple weather, and in the local area, 81 degrees. And then my car said 111. It's like, and when I put the thing out, even when it said like it's 96, I put the thermometer out in the sun, and it went all the way to 130. There's no marker up there, but it goes up the same amount of distance past the 120, where it had to be in the 130. So I told her today, fuck, if it's gonna be over 100, it's gonna probably be really 140. It's like they're cooking us, I'm telling you. And then what is even fucking fuckery is I saw a thing yesterday saying over the projection of what they're saying what the winter is gonna be. Up here it's supposed to be frigid, Arctic fucking winter. Down south it's supposed to be kind of a drought. So they're gonna not get enough rain, not get enough of anything. And then up here, we're gonna just get blasted with coldness. It's like, great, we get blasted all summer with hotness, then we go into get blasted all winter with coldness. But we'll see. Like, I'll know next weekend what, if what's going, what if the door's opening or not that I was talking about. But if that door is opening, that is a little further down south, so we'll see. I don't know what the weather is like there, but I'll find out more as to where it goes. But right now, that's the door that's opening. Yeah, but it's only a crack, so it's only a crack open. So, but I'll know more soon. So then I'll see, if it. Okay. Hair. I'm so uncomfortable. Everything I put on, I feel like I swear to God, I feel like I just want to sit around naked. It's so fucking hot. Everything is like, it feels like a sweat box. Everything is irritating. Flies just are constantly, my hair is hanging all over. It's like, oh God, everything is so uncomfortable. Oh, dude. So but one thing that this is something that just stands out to me, because I know it's meant to, because it wouldn't come across my algorithm, but it's always, I'll be talking about something, I'll be explaining something that's coming from my internal knowledge or my external communication, however you want to look at it. And then I'll see people talking to the chat GPT, and it says the same fucking thing, which kind of trips me out, because I'll start thinking, am I just tapped into some kind of computer? There's a giant computer mind. But it would be my whole life. Like, I would be going my whole life. So then it would be like, well, whatever. Must have been my role. But because they say the exact same thing that I have been saying. So that, to me, I mean, whatever anybody else wants to believe is fine. But to me, it's confirmation that I'm not talking crazy talk. I'm telling the truth. So I just saw this video. It was really disgusting. There's so much disgusting stuff out there right now. It's crazy. I'll tell you a couple of them, a couple of things. Last night too, it was a weird night, as every other night is, but I can't remember my dreams. I can't remember. It just is weird. It's like, I don't know. It's like it just leave, go somewhere, and then it's just this other world. But I've seen people now also on TikTok be able to be saying like, does anybody know why I would be having dreams that seem really real and people keep coming in my dreams? It's like, yeah, I could tell you, but they'll figure it out. Just like everybody's gonna figure stuff out soon. Just like everything that I've been saying about this other side and this whole thing with Donald. It's so funny. It even made it to the news. It did make it to the news. And the news started talking about the trend of all these people thinking that he's dead and talking about it and stuff. But he posted a thing that said, everything will make sense soon. The truth will come out. Something like the truth is coming out and you can't stop it. So, but today's a holiday. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens next. And when the astrologers aren't talking about Donald's dead, they are talking about September's supposed to be a really big month. And there was these big whiteout spikes going on the Schumann thing, which people are, well, they always start saying, oh, it's a timeline jump, it's a timeline jump. But there's big, significant changes happening. So the people talking about that stuff are like, September's going to be big. You think all this year's been big. Just wait till we get going in September, which I think so, because there's going to be a lot of big changes. And it's going to flip a lot of people's world upside down, because what they were looking at, what they were thinking is going to fall apart. But it is funny to watch them after they've sit there and called us conspiracy theorists and made fun of us and stuff. Watching them all turn into conspiracy theorists. It's hilarious. But anyways, that's in play. That's already going. And so we'll just see how it continues to play out. My hair is so sweaty too. God, I am like, my whole neck, everything. I'm so sweaty. It is so freaking steamy. It is like a steam bath. It's not just, and it's night. Like normally it is cooler at night, but I think it's the microwave thing or something. They just turn it up and just cook us all fucking day, all fucking night. And yesterday it was clear out in the morning when I went down to go work, because I got these big crates. I got tape and I'm preparing for packing. And so I got these big crates at Costco the other day. And I took them down to my shelter, or my storage. And when there's hair all over me. I still haven't put my rings on. I'm just everything is just driving me crazy. It's too uncomfortable. Even though last night when I went to bed and my hands were aching, and I was like, oh, I should probably have my rings on. But everything is just uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. But when I went down there to go to the storage, they were just spraying the fuck out of the sky. So, and then when it was like this weird looking sky all day, it was so fucking weird looking. And you could smell smoke. I went and looked it up to try and see where's the fire that's close to us, which I couldn't find one. So I don't know where the smoke's coming from, because it wasn't even that windy. But there was tons of smoke, tons of spray. There's weird cloud formations. There's just all sorts of weird shit. But they put so much stuff in to create this other weird atmosphere. It's like, I don't like to go out there and breathe it. And it's going to be there for the next couple days. It's going to be there today. It says it's going to be like over 100, but cloudy. And then tomorrow is supposed to be over 100, but clear. And tomorrow is going to be the day. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to really try to record twice tomorrow, but then I'll probably still post it on my way to the airport. So it will not be 2 on one day. It will be, I'll do one tomorrow morning, and then sometime in the afternoon, maybe after my nap. Surely I'll take a nap, because I told my mom, well, I'm not doing anything Tuesday. I'm just hanging out with the dogs before I start getting ready to go. And then, but I'll try and record another one, but then I will post it the next morning when I'm leaving and going to the airport. So it'll be like There will be one each day, so it won't be like I skipped one. Surely tomorrow there'll be some significant shit going down, and I may not know in the morning when I start, but later in the afternoon. But they could also keep trying to block it. I guess there was apparently some shenanigans. There was shenanigans in Aurora, Colorado, and there's video. Like it's sad, man. I cannot believe it used to not post. It used to be like it was against censorship to post somebody being killed. Now it's not. Like, ugh, it's weird. It's so weird to just see people get killed. I don't like to see it. But the Aurora one, you see that one. But it definitely shows that cop is. And then they're trying to put out a story to cover. But there's no cover left. I mean, there's videos out all over the place. People have seen what he did, and so if they don't start doing stuff to these out of control cops, there's going to be trouble coming from the other side, because the other side is finding unity. Like, we're all coming together. It may not be us all yet, but there are going to be big problems when these other ones all of a sudden see the truth. And then they all start coming together. Even though it's going to be a lot hectic, because they're going to be facing themselves, but we all had to carry on when we were facing ourselves and being treated like crap by all these people and called names and told we were crazy and stuff. So they're going to have, I mean, they're not all going to just go into their bedrooms and crawl under their covers and cry for the next year. They're going to, there's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot happening. And I would just, again, say, don't harass them over what they didn't see. They weren't supposed to see it. They would have seen it if they could have seen it. So don't put it on them. It's their ride. It's their role. It's how their perspective was supposed to come because of what the effects are from what they're going to experience. So don't be like, well, you should have seen, you should have done this, you should have done that. That just shows you got issues. And your judgment's just coming to the surface. And that's what you need to take notice of. Because harassing somebody what they don't see or haven't seen just shows like that you're not really seeing what's really going on. And everybody has a certain time period to wake up. Everybody has a certain experience that's going to wake them up. And this is like a group of people. But once that group wakes up, they're still going to be like on our side. We're still going to be the people. And so, yeah, a cop goes and does something. Yeah, I even saw that they did have an Aurora. I didn't see all the videos. But I saw another one where they were in the street and they had a whole line of cops blocking. So it was like they had a crowd that was going to, so it was a standoff between the cops, and that's only going to grow. It's going to get bigger and bigger. So there's no hiding. There's no hiding who you are and what you do anymore. It's just going to, it's going to be seen by the world. And it's being seen by the world all over the place. Like, okay, so this one video I just saw. Hold on, this is almost gone. So this one video I just saw, it really bothered me because of what this woman said. Well, a couple of things really bothered me. But, so she was, I mean, out of stereotyping and stuff like that, because I don't know her, but just the scenario, what she was wearing, how she was talking, and all that, I would say this woman is from poverty, a white poverty woman, and she had 2 little kids, and they were obviously half, so they were, because they look like little black kids, but she was white. so you could tell the dad of the kids was black. And so she's out in this parking lot, like of her apartments or something, which that you could tell that the apartments were, lower price apartments. Because like this door she went through didn't even have a lock or anything, didn't have wind. It was really like sketch, man. And so she is out in the parking lot, and she has her little boy, I don't know, like 2.5 years old, 3 years old. He's on a little cart thing. I don't think he's not a bike. He's not riding it. I think it's one of those little things where she's pushing it and the little boy's sitting on it. And, I mean, he could have been 2 or below, but I don't know. It seemed like he was maybe a little above 2. And then she has a little girl who I would say is probably around 4, maybe 4.5. I don't think she was 5. She still seemed really little too. And so the video is some bypasser, and it was apparently 2 guys. One of them is the one who's doing all the talking, but another one walks into frame, and you see he's a black guy, but you could tell, there's a certain, I don't know, there's even a voice characteristic, but there's definitely a certain enunciations of words and stuff. And so so he's talking to her. So what she did is her little girl was pushing the little boy or something on the little thing. Like she ran up and pushed it like, I don't know, it was in a parking lot, but it pissed the mom off. But to me, I was thinking, this mom's emotional fragility, like she has got nothing in her, no patience whatsoever. It's just snap. And so she goes over and let's see, she knocks the kid, she pushes the kid down, she punches her in the head, and then kicks her in the ribs for doing this to the little boy. Well, this is what set the guy off who starts videotaping her. And he starts videotaping her saying, "What the fuck are you doing? You don't start beating up a little kid." Like he's going off on this lady. And so there's 2 black guys walking behind her. She's kind of spinning around in the parking lot, grabbing her kids, and she is just fucking arguing back. They can fuck off and all this stuff. Nobody's gonna tell her how to raise her fucking kids. And she's just losing her mind. And they're like, "Well, we got it all on tape. The cops are coming." So, and she's like, "I don't give a fuck," and all this stuff. And so she goes around, goes up to this door. That's how you see that she goes through this door. It's like she's going into her apartment. There's no fucking, there's no locks. And so I don't know if she went into her apartment or a hallway leading to her apartment, but it was definitely apartments where people who don't have much money, because you could see the hall thing when she opened it and stuff. And but her parting words to these guys, it was just like, I don't know, it really made me, because she said, "I have a big old N-word in the house, and he's gonna come out here and kick your fucking ass." I was like, oh my God. There's a lot of people who think like, oh, well, she's married, in a mixed relationship, so she's certainly not racist. That was the most fucking racist thing I couldn't even believe. Like, so you have your big guy who you think's gonna go out and just do your fighting for you. You can go do whatever you want, and I don't know. It's something like, I don't know. It was disgusting. I couldn't believe it. After that, and she goes in, those guys are like, "Tell him to come out here. Tell him to come out here. I mean, you're over here beating a kid." And so she slams the door and goes in. So, and then they start talking. And that's where you see the one guy walk into frame, which confirmed that he was also a big black guy. And so, but just her attitude, Like she could do whatever she wanted. And then to treat her little black girl, child, with such disrespect, to beat her. And then to say, you know, her big old, you know, like what is he, like your pet or something? Like what the fuck? Like oh my God. That is just weird. It's like people are just in these weird, like, I don't know, like, do we not question the way people act and talk enough or something? Like, I don't know. To me, it seems so clear. Like, almost like her husband, and I don't know the dynamic in their relationship. It's obviously this lady is not happy. As who turns around and starts taking all their misery out on their little kid like that is, so she's obviously not happy, and I don't know that her husband doesn't beat her ass all the time and beat the kids too. But the way that her behavior and the way that she talked, and I don't know, it just is. There's so much going on with people of treating animals and kids just so poorly. Another fucking guy that now he says he was just so attracted. He was just so in love with his 10-month-old baby. He couldn't handle it. He had to do it with her and killed her, obviously. I don't know where. I mean, do you never change their diapers? Do you not see? Like, where do you there's no room to fit something in there. So where is it you're thinking you're gonna put your fucking dick in there? Like, come on. Like, what the fuck, dude? If that's not gonna cause injury, I'm people are so caught up in their motherfucking fetishes and their feelings. Like, does this person not know how to read love? Do they not know how to be like, love their child so much with all their heart they just automatically goes into sexual gratification? It's like they don't have anything, the separation. And it's which is funny because I remember my guides talking to me back when I had my first child, and because I was having these whole conversations about, and it probably because that, of course, is going to be a trigger when you have a child and you have been sexually abused by your parent. Then it's going to be a trigger because you now have this child you're protecting and stuff. And then at the time, the narrative was, if you had been sexually abused, you 100% were going to be a sexual abuser. There was no way around it. You were just going to be a sexual abuser. So I was just like, everything was just like, oh my God, am I going to lose my mind? Am I not going to be able to handle? Like, what happens? How do I fall apart? And now all of a sudden I become a sex abuser. And so anyways, I would have these conversations, and I could just I see this difference in the parameters or the boundaries of love, of, you know, wanting to be close to your kids but not crossing boundaries like that. And so, which there's another boundary, I guess, apparently a new trend of women getting out their vibrators and throwing them over to their kids, or going in with them, carrying them, and asking if they've got batteries. The one that somebody was commenting on was a woman in the car who threw it in her son's lap, and then he was like grossed out, and she's like, how's that gross? And the guy who was doing this stitching video, he said, that is like a guy coming in with his used rubber and throwing it at his kids. It's like, what in the world is wrong with these ladies? I agree. Like, why? Like, I had all daughters, and I had told them when they were teenagers, I said, I'll get you a vibrator if that will keep you from going and having sex with, you know, keep you out of the hookup culture. And But they went and got their own when they wanted one, you know. But but I talked openly about vibrator. You know, you can get satisfaction. You don't need to go out and. But the drive isn't so much that. I think for teenage girls, it's, I don't know. I just saw a guy talking about that. So he was in Miami, and he was very involved in the hookup culture. Now he's left the hookup culture, and he's trying to get people to understand the problems with the hookup culture, besides the fact that we have an epidemic going, that the fraud is going to be paying for it. And there's people saying that the kids nowadays who are getting this epidemic, that they don't see the seriousness of it. Because like I said, that they're going around giving it to each other on purpose, and you know, they don't, it's like they don't care. And so apparently they think, oh well, we've got medicine for it, it's not that big a deal anymore. Lord. Fuck, I don't fucking know, I swear to God. This world is so fucking upside down. So, but it's an epidemic in the hookup culture. And there's a lot of young people who are out there sowing their oats with strangers. And so this guy was talking about the downside, the dark side of that, and how it keeps us all divided, and it keeps people not divided so much as not connecting. So it just is, and he was talking about the drug response in your brain, and it's like you're getting these dopamine hits or whatever. I don't think he named dopamine, but so you're getting these chemical hits in your brain that are like drugs, and so everybody's looking for that next drug, and but it keeps people from growing in intimacy and the sacredness of sharing your body and energy with another person and all that stuff. And so he was talking about that whole thing, but then he starts saying the thing that saved him from it was Jesus. And he said, well, I used to be spiritual, but then it was Jesus who saved me. And that's what is so strange to me, is when I hear people say that, because it's like you're giving this, it's like an energy, you're giving it a face and a name. And all the time in comments and stuff. And if something goes good, people are like, oh, well, it's God, it's God, it's God. And don't give any credit to the person overcoming struggles and stuff, being able to save themselves. Just like that fucking songs, that music. You're worthless unless Jesus. And even him saying, you just give it over to Jesus. So he said he doesn't struggle with that wanting to go do it, because he just gave it to Jesus, and Jesus is the one who keeps him from doing it. And it's like, but if you were to like compartmentalize your mind, then you could say, you know, well, I keep this part of my mind keeps me in check. I just go to that little reference and I think about that, and then it keeps me remembering that I shouldn't do that. But see, they go outside of themselves, and then they say, this character is the one who is saving me. But the other thing about it is that how everybody wants to put all the shit off on this guy. It's like, oh, I'm just going to put it off on Jesus. He can carry it. He's going to carry billions of people's fucking problems. Like, isn't that just like, oh, well, I'm not taking responsibility. Give it to him. He'll take care of it. It's like, I see that as a part of our problem in society. Just that whole concept. Give it to Jesus. He'll carry the load for you. It's like, why don't you figure out how to carry your own load? Why don't you give yourself credit when you are the one who is making new choices, doing things differently, when you are taking better care of yourself? And I used to be like a prayer person, you know, like I believed in prayer and all that stuff, but throughout my path, that I started looking at it differently. especially when it starts becoming just the thing. Oh, just pray for me, pray. Because it's like prayer has power. Like, my hair just keeps coming out and coming out. Prayer has power, but we use it. It's like the way it's used. There's just, and I don't know, but is prayer more of giving gratitude? Is it more of communication? Because I don't know. It's weird because these people think like, well, we prayed, so we saved them through our prayers, and not be like, what's meant to happen is meant to happen, and the person saved themselves. Or I mean, there's just like, it's using certain things in a way that you want them used. So it's kind of like, you don't believe this, you don't believe that, unless it fits into your storyline. And then all of a sudden it's, well, yeah, this works. Because that's what you want it to be. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can explain it right, but I can sure see it. And it just seems so strange. But I don't, I don't agree with the whole thing, like, give all your problems over to this one guy, or make it his problem. And everybody joining in. Everybody's saying, yeah, I'm not dealing with my problems either. I'm giving them to this guy because that's the only way I can get through life. It's like, well, me as a spiritual person has a different outlook. And I think it's more like confronting what the issue is and figuring out a way to do it different. Just like, this coming up with, like, and this is only one way. There's lots of different ways, but say you have a sex addiction because you're hooked up on this dopamine drip and you got to get out there and get a charge. And you're feeding off of the drug and you're not thinking it through, just like a lot of drug addicts. So you're not thinking about it. But a lot of people get hit into it real hard because then all of a sudden they find out they're sick or they're pregnant or something that knocks them. But let's say, though, that you just decide it's not fulfilling you. Maybe it's a girl keeps calling and you've really hurt her because she really thought you loved her. And because that's another thing. What does a drug addict do to get its drug? It will do and say anything. So there's men out there saying how much they are attracted to you, how much they like you, how much they've always wanted you, to get that hit, that dopamine hit. Because once they've conquered, once they get it, then it's like, and then that also makes the sex a lot more exciting because you're on the drug. And so they're always looking for that. And then when they go and have sex that's not on the drug, then it's like boring. It's like, that's not fun. Like, I don't want a girlfriend. It just is humdrum and boring and stuff. But really, that's where you would, with a connection, that's where you're going to find a deeper connection. Like, where you can really connect deeply with somebody. And it's not just about the drug hit. It's about the focus on connecting. But that is what hookup culture has taken out of the divinity of the mating process, or whatever, the coming together sexually. And so say this guy, so he, whatever it is, something happened that all of a sudden made him think, I don't want to do this anymore. It's empty. I don't feel good about myself. I notice that, you can start noticing that you have an addiction to the Ketchum one, and which is all the same. It's all the same, whether it's gambling, drugs, it's all the same thing. Eating, it all hits in the same places in your brain. It's all these drugs, like even for somebody who has uses food as an addiction, then that drug calms them, it soothes them, so they stuff themselves and then they feel calmer. And so it's a way to manipulate your body chemicals without really confronting the issue. And so in the hookup culture thing, whereas instead of, you know, giving it over to Jesus, so you have this issue and you're going out and you're realizing, like, man, this feels really empty. I don't feel it, you know, I want to go do something, but I don't even have anybody to call. It just is, you know, and you're running into people. Like, there's a lot of things that would be reasons to suddenly be like, oh, this is kind of yuck. It could be because their STDs just go around, not even just the big A, but a lot of other ones too. And they even create new ones. So because like chlamydia, that was a new thing, and warts, those all came about in my lifetime. Like, I never heard of them, you know, before. It was syphilis and gonorrhea. Then all of a sudden it started being all more, because we just pass disease back and forth and pass it around. Just like that hair commercial from when I was a kid. And then they told you people, and they told it, and the screen just fills and fills and fills with people. Because just you tell somebody, then they tell somebody, and then each person, it just grows and grows and grows. So that is the spread of disease when you are just hooking up. It just spreads rampantly, which that is also created. They also, in this world where there's people in control, they create this atmosphere because they program it into the movies and stuff, into shows. So they program people and get people to be drawn in. It's a lure. And so they're lured in to this lifestyle, and then they go out and do it, and they start getting the drug hit. And then it's until, you know, you reach rock bottom, whatever that is. But then when you reach that, and instead of saying, well, I had to give it to Jesus, Jesus had to save me. Because there's also people who think Jesus, like they were gay and Jesus saved them from being gay. But it's like, it's you who's doing it. Jesus isn't coming down and doing this for you. And so, but you aren't taking credit. You're not even realizing, because it's the way you perceive, it's the way you set it out, it's the way you build your castle. It's so you got to like I don't know, you know, what they're doing, because I'm not inside their mind, but I would say, like, so you reach your rock bottom and then you decide to make a change, then, you know, you would get your hit. Like, you'd see some girl walking by and you'd be like, oh man, I want to hit that. But not going and, you know, trying to charm her, not going and trying to give her lines and all of that stuff, and sit back and be able to just admire her and just be like, yeah, I really like how she looks, I like her hair, her outfit's cute, I like the way she walks, I like the way she carries herself. Just to admire her and not be going to like conquer her. I've got to have her. And then that right there would be a change. That right there would be something where we're doing something different. And so each time when you come to confront this drive, that you do something different, which maybe would have to be something different every time, you know. Maybe there would be girls showing up at your doors, like, I want a little bit more of that. And then where you would, you know, instead of taking the easy, you know, yeah, come on in, that you did something different. And so you started making different choices for yourself. And so it's you building this part of you up, this more emotionally mature, this more mindful side, uh, this more side of yourself where you're not so just focused on this little thing, but you're looking at a bigger picture. You're seeing more. And so you are growing and expanding and becoming more, like you'll fill yourself up. You're becoming more fulfilled by becoming a better person. And so, but you got to acknowledge the changes that you're making, what you're doing, not just like the only way I could change was because Jesus took it. Jesus has taken it. Every time Jesus does it, it's like, I think that there's something about that you need to acknowledge your own work and what you're doing, the difference, the changes that you're making, and not just, Jesus has flown into me and he's got control of my mind and he's the one who's getting me to do things differently. It's like you are doing things differently. You are making different choices for yourself. And it is also kind of that same perception of like, I'm not worthy, I'm worthless without Jesus. And it's like this repetitive message that comes through in that sect, that religious sect. And so it is to see your own value, to see, and it's easy to feel worthless. I mean, I'm sure that girl who's sitting there beating her kid right out in the street is, she feels worthless about herself. She doesn't feel good about herself. It's just her whole attitude, the whole way she was talking is, oh God. This was not a person who felt good about themselves. And doing things like that is only going to make you feel worse. And that's one thing is for people to see, like, when everything I do that is shitty, it just reaffirms to me what a piece of shit I am. And that's where you want to change. You want to be like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. So say this girl, like maybe this is her rock bottom. Maybe this is it. Maybe she's going to be arrested. And maybe that's her rock bottom, though, being seen. Because there's no hiding it anymore. Like, I can't imagine what those kids go through in their house. Like, you spill a glass of milk and just beat the shit. Every little thing, that little kids do. And I remember being a young mom and I was emotionally fragile. I was like a wreck a lot of the times, because I was not healed my own self. And so I know I would lose my temper at times. I didn't go start beating my kids. Not to say, I'm better than her, but that, because the thing is that she is going to start feeling so bad about herself. And then that's just going to, it just like spreads into your kids feeling bad about themselves. So that is this negative, like, lineage that is created, this ancestry of abuse and stuff. And the big change that the mom could do, which, and I don't know what goes on in her house. Like I said, I don't know if her husband is a wife beater, kid beater, and it's just, she's so beat down, she doesn't give a fuck anymore. And she did seem like, she probably maybe does drugs or something, and which that is only going to feed into worse things, because that supposedly is something about Jake and Rebecca Haro in the Emmanuel thing, that their house was well known in the area as being a methed out house. Like, people were all methed out in there, people would OD and stuff like that. So they were all drugged out. And there's so many things, there's so many things that people need to overcome in this life. But that's what you're here to do, is to become the better version of yourself. So, but this place, it offers everything to bring you, to keep you stuck in your in your filth, your own filth, keep you just stuck there so you can't get out. You're just a worthless piece of shit. You just carry that on and through your lineage, through your line. And but so this woman reaches rock bottom today, or yesterday, whenever this video was made, and the cops come and she gets arrested, which I don't know, like she could be arrested all the time, but something, and things are more intense right now, so it's easier to reach rock bottom for a lot of people because it's set up that way. You're set up right now to have everything hit you wrong and have you really feel like, I need to make a change. I need changes in my life. I can't live like this anymore. And so, and she wants to change. She doesn't want to she doesn't want her emotions to reach this boiling over point and then take it out on her kids, and just creating this domino effect that's just going to keep going, which then when you leave the game and you go over to your life review, that's the stuff that pulls you back in. It's like, oh, how do I go and change this? Now you're out. How do you go change it? We had to change it when you're in here. And that's what everybody's getting these opportunities to do. Make changes while you're here. So you don't have to go to your life review. And then you're kind of stuck just following people around, being their guide and stuff, trying to make changes over the problems that you created, because that's the karma that you create, and it comes back to you. And some of it comes back to you through like this, you created a wave, and it continues, and you are still attached to it. That's why you want to create waves here, but you want to create the right kind. Like, you don't want to keep going in these toxic directions. You want to create a wave in a new direction. And so, but let's just say that she wanted to change. She was like, I've got to get a handle on myself. I hate myself. I hate how I act. And so when you feel the pressure, so your kid does something and your automatic response is you want to go up and punch them, which that's extreme, but I mean, there's people doing it all over the fucking place. So instead of doing that, you catch yourself. So you see, like, fuck, I'm pissed. Fuck, I want to go punch them. And then instead, you're like, I'm going to my room. Go in and punch the fuck out of your pillow. And then sit there once you've gotten all your energy and you're out. Then sit there and go into reflection and try and find, where is all this anger coming from? Why am I so mad? Why am I so bitter? And a lot of times it's because you were that kid. You were also fucking punched in the head and kicked in the ribs. And you don't know how to behave differently, but you can figure it out. Like, this is your challenge, is to make changes, even when they're very difficult, to overcome obstacles, to become the champion of self. So you're not stuck, even though it can feel like you're stuck, because you're just repeating patterns, but you can break the patterns. So you go in there and yeah, your kids are gonna be out there, but they're gonna kind of be in shock, like, what's she doing? What's she doing? So, I mean, you could have kids that are just gonna go crazy out there and start tearing shit up. Or you could just, when you see, like, I really want to punch them in the head and kick them, then you could just leave the mess, whatever, is the thing that sets you off, and take them to a room. Like, the same thing is, like, where there used to be, for a while, it was a trend of a timeout chair, timeout place, or whatever. So you, because that's even in dog training too. But so you figure out a place. So you have it. This is where you start confronting your things before they happen. And so like, well, today I'm gonna probably lose it, maybe 4 or 5 times, because my kids are gonna piss me the fuck off. And I've seen so many of these videos, so many. Another weird thing is how many kids are going to the bathroom. This has got to be a thing. There's a thing that would have to be associated with this, because you got all these fucking kids that they either take their diaper off and go to the bathroom in their toys, or they go to the bathroom on something, then they play in it and put it on the wall. Some of them carry it out to their mom, all sorts of things. I can't even believe how many moms I've seen talking about poop. And which would be something like if we went into Freud's stuff or something, then we would see that there's some kind of thing, maybe it's a root chakra thing, maybe I don't know what it is. You'd have to go deeper into it, but there's something why there would be all of this poop situation, which I'll tell you, this is a weird thing, was because it was one of those radio joke call-in whatever, and I don't even know if the whole thing was a set-up joke, because it's so fucking weird. So this woman calls into the radio show, and she wants a second date with this guy, but he won't call her back. I think he even blocked her. And so she doesn't know why. She's like, oh, could you call him and see? Because I don't understand why, everything was going good. Why is it now that he won't call me back? And so they call him, and he's like, oh, that nasty ass, there's no fucking way I want to go out with her again. And he doesn't know she's on the phone. And so the radio host, they start cracking up. Well, she's on the line. Like, why don't you tell us what the hell's going on? And so he says, so she'd already said they went out to some, I think like a work party or something. She was all dressed up. She was real nice. Everything was good. And then they went back to his place, but he had drank a lot. So they didn't do anything. And she said she only had one drink. So they go back to his place, but she goes in and takes a shower. So he says she was in there taking a shower. He opens the door. She doesn't obviously know. He's opened the door and can see her. She squats down, poops in her hand, in the shower. She's in this guy's shower. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is, more than, maybe I'm hurting somebody's feelings right now. But typically, most people just get out and go on the toilet. But so she squats down, he said like an animal, poops in her hand, and then opens the thing and tosses it in the toilet. And he said, Anne made a basket. Like, this is something she does all the time. And he was like so disgusted. And so then she becomes defensive. And then she starts saying, well, it was the cheesecake gave me a stomach ache. And he's like, no, you do that all the time. It was quite clear. Like, you can make, like, you toss it across into the toilet. And she, so she starts defending herself. The radio people are like, I've never heard of this and stuff. So anyways, but I would say there's got to be something to this pooping thing. I mean, it's even, there's fetishes where there's people who eat it. I don't know, there's something weird. I don't know what it is, but anyways, right now you have tons of kids that are pooping all over the place, pooping in the halls, there's one lady who was, and all these people are like, don't have kids. It's like, well, there's something going on here. And this one, because she was sitting there saying, he won't stop peeing and everything. He pees in his toy, he pees in this, he pees in that. His room always smells like pee. She goes in and cleans it. She finds like pile, like like a little truck that he plays with, and he's just peed all in it. So she finds these stashes of pee. Well, my solution would be put something in there that he can pee in. Be like, okay, this is your pee bucket. This is what you pee in. And anytime you want to go pee in this, and then we'll go dump it in the toilet the next morning. I would think, like, maybe he doesn't like to get up at night. Maybe he's scared. But give him a focus of what he can pee in. Don't just keep on going in, cleaning it up, and screaming at him. Well, that's not doing much good, is it? Come up with a solution. So come up with it could be anything. You could go down to the thrift store, get some cute little pitcher. You're like, okay, this is your little pee pitcher. Pee in this when you gotta go pee in your bedroom. Because maybe he thinks like, well, I can't make it to the thing. I'll just pee right here. You know, who knows what the fuck's going on in there? And but you, as the adult, can come up with a better solution than just fucking running on a fucking waterfall or running on a fucking hamster wheel or whatever, just going in circles, going in circles, going in circles. It's like, it seems like simple to me. And like right now, I'm like going around looking in this room like, oh yeah, you could put that up there. You take that in there. Like there's so many things you could take in there. You could even make it like a little cute thing. You could get like one of those little potties that little kids use, and yeah, have it, you know, have him a little place in his room where that's like, this is where you can go potty in your room, and then bring it out, and then and in the morning you don't have to have him carrying it. Be like, okay, let's go, but have him be a part of it. Because at some point, then he'll be like, oh, well, it'd be a lot easier if I just went in the bathroom. You know, at some point, he would develop and grow more, and he would stop doing that. But it's like parents just stay in this frustration, being all angry. I don't know what the pooping, like, I don't know, but you like with a dog where you have to kind of know their schedule, know when they eat, they're going to go poop, you know, and be on top of it when you're trying to potty train them. It'd be kind of like, maybe there's some kind of thing you can do with that. But I don't know. I just know it's a big fucking trend right now. All these kids pooping all over the place and parents losing their minds. So I don't know. But there's ways around things. Like maybe it's the same thing. Maybe set them up a little area in their bedroom that is, you know, one of those little potties, and then reward them, you know, every time that your poop is in there. And then maybe, you know, get those little hand sanitizers, the little wipes, not the little stuff to squirt. Just drink that and become drunk. But get the wipes, which they could just pull out a zillion wipes. Well, if they do that, then have a wipe thing that is doesn't have a lot in it, and keep your main stash over here, and then just put a few wipes in. So even if they take them out, that they only get like 5, figure out how many would they need for the day. So if they're pulling their poop out of their diaper and throwing it in their toilet, then tell them, okay, well now your hands are dirty, so you need to go over there and use your wipes, and then have a little trash, and like set them a whole little fucking thing up. It makes it kind of fun. That doesn't mean they're going to stay doing that forever. I mean, at some point they would get embarrassed, even if they're like 11 or 12. At some point they'd have friends come over and be like, what's this? Why do you do that? Why don't you go in the bathroom? Because usually that's what makes change, is when our peers, we find humiliation in how they look at us. That's what we change our whole selves into, to be satisfying to our peers. And that's what keeps so many of these people trapped. They don't even know, like, people just don't even realize how they are so trapped by, I don't know, there's a lot of things that have them trapped, because it's their ego and their biases, but wanting to be a part of a certain group. I don't want to be a part of that group, so I'm staying away from that group. They're a bunch of Kool-Aid drinking, MAGA loving, rape, you know, like, they go through their whole thing. It's like, well, you guys are missing out on what's really going on. So, but I'm really hoping today, well, I don't know if today will be as much a reveal, but there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. So, because even there's some big tech guy that Donald is being involved with, and it has to do with big changes that they're going to make here in America. And he's also working on a global currency, which that's all coming. Like, everything is going to be changing so significantly. I mean, there's a breakdown in so many different places. It's Indonesia. They're having huge things in the street, supposedly. I mean, they're not allowed to. All their social media lives or something's all been turned off, so they can't show. But there's been videos leaked, and it's like the protests against the government. It's like they're trying to take the government down or something. And there's big changes in the United Kingdom, and there's all sorts of places where things are changing and coming to the surface, and the people are standing together. And there's and it's not just here with the immigration, which that, that should show us that that was all a maneuver from the other side, because here, was our open borders, but all these different countries were being overrun by these people from the Middle East. And so it was all some situation to, well, we'd have to ask the bad people why they were doing it. But I think that there's a lot of reasons to make it more division, more keep us fighting, more keep us stressed, then more with the jobs, the taxes. It's just a stressor, just a stressor for a lot of people. And then it was a good way to have a beard so that you could bring in the terrorist's. So you could bring in the people who were here to instigate crime and cause problems by bringing in a whole bunch of people at the same time. So anyways, back to, like, if you're trying to do something different. So this woman, so, she hits her rock bottom. She no longer wants to beat her kids when she gets mad. And so she thinks, like, well, I know myself. I know I'm going to get really pissed. My kids are definitely going to do shit that's going to piss me off today. So I need to start thinking of how I'm going to handle it before the fact. So that's where you can come up with, like, a timeout room. And I would probably myself start telling the kids, like, I would be honest and say, Mommy really doesn't want to lose her temper anymore and hit you. I don't think that's right. You shouldn't hit people. And I don't want you to hit people. I don't want to hit you. And so I'm going to start practicing to do things differently. You could even say, I was hit and so I started hitting, but I don't think it's good. So I'm going to work on changing so that I no longer do that, which is going to start a whole new energy in your home. Like, your kids will feel more seen or heard. So even if they're really young, they're not really young. They're souls. They're probably ancient. So and they're here to create this flex. They're here to get you to see. They're here to push you in these directions. So they're going to do the things that's going to push you and push you and push you. And this is the thing that where souls sign up. Like, well, I'm going to get kicked in the head a bunch of times. But they come in because they care about you and they want you to get this opportunity to change and grow. Because whatever's happened to you, it brought this out in you. And you learn from hurting other people. It teaches you a lot as a soul. And so there's just a lot. There's a lot of lessons. It can be a lot of different things. So anyways, but you already can recognize that you're going to lose your shit. And you start telling your kids, like, and that holds you more accountable too. And then if they say, Mommy, you said you weren't going to get mad, and they could push you. Because that's another thing that happens. You will get tested. So you'll get pushed further than you thought you would ever be pushed when you're trying to make a change. And then they can feel like, oh, you little smart ass. I'm going to fucking punch you now. Like, you can't just fall to every little test, because that's what they are. You got to recognize, oh, this is a test. Oh, this is a test. Oh, you just fucking really ground my nerves. So you got to see, when they're saying something, well, Mom, you said you weren't going to do that. So then, but when you look at it ahead of time, so then you figure out, how am I going to handle this? So they're going to do this, play out some scenarios that have already happened. They're going to do this, and then what would be my next thing to do so that I don't do the same thing? So I would say have it set up already. Like, when I lose my temper, I'm going to my room. That's the best place you can go in and deal with your shit. You just go in and sit on the couch and start punching the couch. You're going to go into your room. And believe me, I was a door slammer. I'd slam the fucking door all the time. Like, my kids knew, Mom's pissed. But I wasn't going to go out and start kicking and hitting them in the head. But I'd slam the door and go in my room until I was could manage myself. But so, is there was a time when I did get really pissed, and it was I don't remember. I think my daughter, it was my oldest daughter. The oldest kid always goes through the worst stuff. I think, I don't know if she was 2 or 3 or something. I was pissed, and I threw her down on her bed, just like throw her down on her bed, and when I threw her down on her bed, she went back and she hit her head, and I felt so horrible. And I could see, like, oh my God, losing my temper with my kid is not a good thing. So I became a door slammer and went into my room. But you know, I mean, I could see the error of my ways quick. But there's a lot of people, it just continues and continues and continues, and it just builds this cycle of trauma and you know, violence, toxic. And so but so you see, like, you're gonna lose your mind, and so you tell your kids, like, every time when I get mad, when I want to I'm not gonna touch you, I'm gonna turn and go over here, but you need to go in your room and sit on your bed and think about what you did. You, and the littler one, you know, I mean, you can just start training them from the time they're little, and be like, you need to go sit down on, you get that couch cushion, you sit down on the floor, and you sit there and you think about it. Or you get your blocks and play with them, whatever. I don't know, you got to figure it out. And then you tell the older one, you know, the bigger troublemaker or whatever, you need to go sit on your bed and think about it. I'm going to go sit on my bed. And we're going to stay in our rooms until we're calm. Until I can come out and say, okay, now we can talk about it. And everybody that does what they're supposed to do, so if the kid goes and does it, then there's some kind of reward. So that they know, like, okay, well, if I do this, I'm going to get something good. And so... And you don't have to reward them every time with, like, okay, we're going to go to the dollar store, you were good. But you could, one thing is get little stars. This is something, is like you get a little calendar, and then you get little stars. Like, well, they probably still have them, but it used to. Your teacher would give you a little gold star on your paper and stuff. So there was little gold stars, little sticker, whatever. So you, every time that they do something right, then they get to put a sticker on the calendar. And then if they get a certain amount of stickers, so say by the end of the month, you've got 30 stickers or 25 stickers, whatever, you get to decide, you know, then you get this reward. And it could be by the end of the week. It could be, you know, maybe your child is doesn't have it, like, that they can make it to the end of the month. Halfway through the month, they're like, fuck it, I'm never gonna get anything, fuck it, I'm gonna be bad. So make it quicker, like, you know, every week, as long as you get, you know, so many stickers on the thing, then, and you could also make it like, you know, some days you could get 2 stickers on one day, 3 stickers on another day, or whatever. And so the more stickers you have, the better the thing you get. And so a dollar store is always a good one, because then you can be like, okay, so you can go to the dollar store, you get to pick out 3 things, you get to pick out 5 things, because then they think, like, oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff, and sometimes they just want to get candy. But you could also make limitations on that, where you can only have so much candy, but you could get some markers and some coloring books, and try and get them to, you know, like, there's little craft things. You could be like, well, why don't we go look at the craft stuff, and you could get some stuff and we can make it together. You know, start getting them excited, you know, find things to do together that are more fun and more productive, and help your child develop more in their creativity and stuff. So, and it could be, you know, like, we'll go to the art store, we'll go to, whatever, you know, each family is going to have its own thing. So it's not just one thing. There's nothing that's a one size fits all. So you have to figure out what works best in your lifestyle, in your family, and in your environment, and your area, like your geographical area. Because you may not even have a dollar store. You may not have a cheap store like that. And then it could be your best thing is time. You know, we'll go to the park, and I'll push you on the swing for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. You got to see, what is it that your kid loves to do? Maybe it's like, we're going to save up your stars and go look at bikes. And we'll keep going and shopping around for a bike while you build your stickers, and we'll go check them all out, get them all excited about what bike they're going to get. There's just different things you can do. And so, and then when you think, well, I can't afford a bike. Well, you can get bikes at the thrift store, and you can paint them. You can do things, you can put stickers on them. You can do things to make them fun and exciting for their own. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go pay $100 or $200 for a new bike. You can go down the thrift store, you can go around to different ones, or you could be like, okay, we're gonna go get this bike because you found the one you love at the thrift store. And then and then we can paint it, we can fix it up, we can get a basket, we can get, things where the energy and the motivation's going in a positive, not just like my kids are scared of me. And then instead of then you're also showing this side of yourself, this other side of yourself. And it could be too that when you get all your stickers, you get to decide, what do you want to go do? You want to go get ice cream? You want to go to a museum? You want to go to the zoo? I don't know all the different places now to go with kids. But anyways, get them more involved in like what is it you want when you do the right thing. And so anyways, there's ways to go at it differently, but get the kids more involved, and then make it like a program of building up, and then also changing your focus. But but when you get yourself all pissed off, and then you go into your room and you're punching the thing, you could get there was a blow up clown doll. When I was a kid, there was a blow up clown doll. I even got one of these. I think I got it from one of my daughters because she would have anger issues. I would say, why don't you go in and just every time just go punch this clown? Just go. I even got a punching bag at one point. But so get something for yourself that makes you get your anger out, makes you pull it out. So all that energy doesn't just stay stored up and waiting for the next one to piss you off. You get it out of you. And so, some people can just go in and get the pillow and just start punching it and be like, oh, damn it. And it will notice what is coming up in your mind too. Are you sitting there punching the pillow, picturing your dad's face? You figure out where all your anger is coming from, so you can start releasing it. And not feeling, and changing this whole motivation in your family, changing this whole dynamic, so things can start going in a more positive way, because you're not a prisoner in your own world unless you let yourself be. You can change. You have the capability of change. That's what's magnificent. So you can create the world you want, but you have to take steps in doing it. But you can get like one of those, you could get a punching bag. So your thing could be like, well, I'm going to go in, every time I get mad, I'm going to go in the garage, and you are going to go in your room, and you're going to go sit on the floor in front of the TV, whatever it is. I don't know, because you got to figure out from the ages of your kids and stuff. But get them to go and sit, get them more used to going and sitting in reflection in their room. And then when they were like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, just think about what you did, replay it, slow it down. Think like, what if I would have done things different? Think about what you could have done different. Maybe if I wouldn't have got the juice out of the fridge and I would have asked for help. But a lot of times then kids don't want to ask for help because anything could set mom off, and she's going to start yelling at me and tell me what an idiot I am. So I'll just go get the juice myself. I'll show her I can do it. And then they spill the juice all over the floor, and then the mom gets twice as pissed. So when you're telling your kid, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? If I'm supposed to sit on my bed, what am I supposed to be thinking about? Think back through everything you did. Think of other things you could have done differently. And so have it already set up. You're not going to be able to do this when you're angry. You're not going to be able to tell them that when you're angry. You're going to be able to, your steam's coming out of your ears already. So you have to set this up when you're not angry. You have to have it's like this happens and we know this is what we're going to do. Just like the same thing is like if there's a fire and we're going to halt, these are the things you do. So once the fire is lit, this is, this is what we do. So once you see mom's mad and she's gone to the garage, then you know, okay, I need to go in my room and think about this. And I need to go, it could be that kid's responsibility then is to, you have to go over here, help their little sibling go where they need to go. And then they have to go in their room and sit there until mom comes and says, okay, now we can all come out and talk about it. And what did you learn? Well, I think I shouldn't have got the orange juice out by myself. I should have asked for help. And then I went and spilt it. And then, so, see, they're figuring it out without you going and just, it changes the whole dynamic. It changes the way that they would be behaving, because then they will slow down and they will think things through and they'll problem solve for themselves. So you're teaching them how to problem solve, be mindful. Excuse me. Gosh, she's so stinky right now. Oh, man. She's just going to be a stinky little lady, I guess, until we get in those med beds. Then it's going to clear everything up. That's what I feel like. And that's my hopium. These med beds. Bring them on. But anyways, so you can change the dynamics and change, instead of raising kids that, are going to grow up and beat their own kids, and then you've got to watch it life after life, how long it drags on. And man, it's like a nightmare too. It's like, excuse me, it's like you're stuck. That's hell. That's hell. That's like you being stuck in this perpetual reliving this thing over and over, and there's nothing you can do but watch. And even when you're trying to make changes, that they can't hear you because they're stuck in their own pain and suffering. So, but you can make big changes in this time currently. So, but that would help your kid become more thoughtful and mindful and more calmer. And then it can also teach them how through you figured out how to change. So when they are confronted with things as they grow older and become adults, then they realize like, oh, I can make changes. My mom changed. She used to beat me in the head when I was little, but then she grew up and she became better. And now she's really nice. I can have her watch my kids and feel safe. So you, but I would say, you don't just pretend like nothing happened. You would come out after you're calm. So if it's like the garage is your place and you have a punching bag out there and you just go out and punch the shit out of it. And if you get a big punching bag, you got to get gloves or you'll be busting your knuckles up. So maybe even if you get a really big heavy one, you got to get the whole padded ones. But whatever it is, you go out and you just, get your anger out of you. And then, but you gotta add into it the reflection. You gotta notice, what is it when you're all this anger is coming out of you, what is coming up for you? What is there? And that takes a lot of looking inside, because otherwise it's just like sparks flying. But when you take your consciousness and you start watching yourself and you start taking notice of what's going through, what's processing while this is doing, and that will help you to be able to heal out of it, to be able to grow past it. And just making changes like that, just making changes where, you feel, oh, just give it to Jesus. And no longer do I do this, just Jesus, take it away. Go and acknowledge your own self of what you're doing to make changes. And so just in the occurrence of you changing is going to make changes. So pretty soon you're going to realize, like, I don't even feel like kicking my kid in the head. Like, man, they just did something and I feel super calm. I don't even feel like I need to go beat the shit out of them. It's like, man, mom's growing. Mom's feeling better. How are you doing? And the kid starts, being more mindful and noticing that the stupid shit that they're doing. And so then they stop doing it. And then if you have a problem, like your kid's like, well, you got some people who have their kid are like, well, they're, nonverbal. They can't think. You can't talk to them. You can't tell all this stuff. That's a whole nother set of circumstances. Which, if I had a kid that was having those issues, I would definitely be getting a lot of detox, a lot of heavy metal detoxes and stuff. I would not be using an air fryer, and I would be trying to come at it with a medical, like it would be that there's some interference, and it can be these things too. So you got to just detox and stuff. But if you have a kid that's just regular and can talk and does naughty things, and then you get them to be more reflective, but maybe they've got the OOD or whatever, they're going to fight against you on everything. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to go in their room. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. Then you have a whole nother circumstance, but you can't let them just push you into being pissed. But you start, figuring out reward systems or something. So if you do it, well, nothing works, nothing works. Because you hear parents say that all the time. Something will work. You just haven't figured it out yet. And so you just got to keep going at it. Keep trying to figure out, like, what will work. What can get them. Like that one lady in that movie. Well, it was a true story. And I know there's other women who did this. There was other women who have done this in the past. Make their little boy wear a dress. There was women who, their kid wet the bed and they'd hang the sheets out so everybody would see. There was all sorts of things. It was a lot of using humility to try and create the child to behave, which that I don't think is the right way. I think that's one of the things that people carry through the next life. So humiliating somebody is not a good practice to get into. But to try and come up with something, there's got to be something that this kid is motivated by, that this kid wants. And a lot of times that when those kids, even if you have one of these oppositional, defiant kids or whatever, attention deficit kid, any of those things, the detoxing can also be something, because there can be an influence by that. But right now we've got a lot of intensity on the planet, so that's gonna perpetuate some of these behaviors. But but if you have one that has a hard time being focused, then that's a good time to be like, okay, well, what I want you to do is when I get mad and I go out to the garage or I go in my room, as soon as you hear that door slam, then you know I'm mad and I'm trying to work through it so I don't go in and punch you in the head. So you go in your room and you sit down and you get your spiral, your journal, and you write down everything you're feeling. You write down, how does it make you feel when I'm getting mad? How does it make you feel when all the things that you're thinking about, I want you to write them down. And then after, we'll talk about it. So we'll talk about your feelings. And this is the hard thing for people to do who aren't healed, is to be able to detach from how they feel about their feelings. And so that's another good maneuver in building yourself up, is not being narcissistic and it's all about you and stuff, is being able to listen to their feelings and really acknowledge this is how they felt. This is their feelings. And then that also can help a parent become more mindful of, like, well, I don't want them to feel like this. I don't want to make this be their life. I don't want this to be their childhood. And so, but there's a lot of growth that can happen, but there's a lot of stumbling blocks. There's a lot of things that can hang you up. But every time something tries to hang you up, that's where you want to overcome it. You want to try and do something different. And so when they're telling you their feelings, what they wrote down, then it can be that instead of you telling them, well, you shouldn't feel that way. Well, I didn't do that. Well, I didn't mean it that way, and all that stuff. Maybe that's a good sign that you need to go write down your feelings. And because you can't discount their perspective. What they went through, their feelings is what they felt. And believe you me, I was somebody who did try and explain myself. Yeah, but that's not what I was doing. That's not what I meant. And that only makes the person feel less heard by you. It makes them feel like you're not listening to me. You don't care about me. You don't care about my feelings. All you care about is your own. And so, and then toxic relationships, that's what we've dealt with. But now we're trying to make healthy relationships. So we don't want to have all this enmeshment. We don't want to have all this entanglement. We want everybody to be independent and to be sure of their own self, of how they feel, and what their own boundaries and stuff. So we want to not just create that for ourselves, but we want to be able to create a world where kids can create that for themselves. I mean, so we don't want to be overriding them. That's where you become like the narcissistic parent. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's only how you see things. It's only about your feelings. And so that is another just perpetuating a toxic uh, a toxic behavior in lineage, because that won't just stop with your kid. It will go into his kids and their kids and their kids, and that's where you're trapped on the sidelines watching this play out. So again, it's way better to start trying to stop things here and now, to make changes, to do things differently, even though it's hard as fuck. It's hard as fuck. It's going to be very challenging. And anything you do that's different than what you've always done is going to be a challenge. But that's where you got to see. That's what you're here to do. You're here to challenge yourself. You're here to do things different. You're not here just to be a product of your environment. You're here to create a new one. And so take the challenge and outsmart the challenge. Come up with new ways of doing things. And, you know, then you'll feel successful. You'll feel good about yourself. And it's not going to just be because Jesus did it. It's because you did it. Because you grew the fuck up. Because you grew into yourself. Because you were able to take your pain and your suffering and not just put it onto the next person. You were able to transmute it, to take it in and let it go, to dissolve it. And like I said, a lot of dissolving it will just come through these regular practices. You may not just have this great epiphany where all of a sudden you just change and no longer. It could be a slow process where, you know, you go out and you constantly go do this same thing every time you get mad, and then all of a sudden one day you just notice like, geez, I don't even need to go out in the garage and punch the punching bag. I mean, they just did this, but I feel like, you know, I can just tell them, hey, you need to go sit down and think about like how you can slow down, why you aren't, why you're doing this, why you're going up and doing this to your sister, or why you're sneaking around or being naughty or whatever it is. But you don't have the same reaction. That doesn't mean that their behaviors are going to stop. But then at that point, when your behaviors have stopped, then you can start confronting their behaviors in a new way also. So then it's not just about, oh, mom's gone to the garage and slammed the door, so I know I better go to my room. Now it's more like you can stand there and say, hey, I don't need to go to the garage, but you need to go to your room. And so, but then also you don't want to just have kids that, you know, they just have to sit in their room all day long, because that's the only way you can find peace. So you got to have, it's like a timeout. It's like, okay, well, you need to go sit down in your room, 15 minutes. I want you to write down I want you to write me a paper, what you did wrong and how you could have done different. What other things could you have done rather than what you did? And make them problem solve, make them think about it, make them go and slow down and think about their own behaviors and how they could do things different. Because that's going to help them grow up. It's going to help them become better people in the long run. So, I've been talking a long time. I swear to God, she's kind of that shampoo. I use that certain shampoo on her, and the smell of that shampoo and the smell of her sweat and stuff. She starts pressing up on this. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about you, little stinky lady. It smells kind of like dirty diapers, like when, not poopy, but when they've peed in them, and you got like Huggies on them or something, and you take them out. It's the bacteria smell. That's what it is. It's like a bacteria smell. I don't even know. I mean, if she has some long-lasting UTI, which that would be overrun with bugs, because that happens a lot of times with old people. So when old people, like anybody who's worked in a nursing home or has had old people patients or whatever, that maybe you have to take care of your mom, and she now wears diapers and she can't do them all by herself. Then and that smell where you're like, oh, what is that smell? That's bacteria. And so a lot of people, when they get older, and can be, I mean, Stella is older for a giant breed, 10 is pretty old, is get overrun with the bacteria. But I already had her on the round of the oregano oil. I don't know even. Oh, I forgot I was going to get some pumpkin. Damn it. Maybe I will go and get some pumpkin. Gosh dang it, I meant to get some. Because I saw a person saying it was, because they were saying the vets tell you need this and this and this, but instead of using this, use this. And they were somebody that was in animal health care or something, but they weren't a vet. They maybe worked in an animal pet store or something. They knew alternatives. But instead of using the heavy-duty parasite cleanses, because, I mean, she was on the horse base for quite a long time, is instead of doing that, is pumpkin. Pumpkin does the same kind of thing. So I think I'm going to get some pumpkin and see if that doesn't clear up. But if it's on the external side, too, because of this weird vaginal way that she's built, that could be with bacteria, just stays in there, each time she pees. So, I mean, it's really hard to clean a great big dog. And then as soon as you start spraying, she sticks her big old face down there. So, anyways, but that smell, I just keep smelling that smell. It's like, God, that smell is so familiar, but that's what it is. It's like this diaper smell. And but that is the smell. Like if you have an old person and you have to change their diapers, and it's like, what is that smell? It's always the same too. They all smell the same, and it's bacteria. It's overrun with bacteria. But you can't just put them on antibiotics, because antibiotics cause other problems in their system. We need to not be on antibiotics all the time. That's causing more problems with our system. So that's why you got to do more natural things. But if you do oil of oregano, then it is, you can't just stay on it forever. But there are some people who say, as I see some of these doctors, just don't get oil of oregano pills, take them all the time. Then I tell somebody else, you need to do it in rounds. Like you can only do it for a week off, a week on. So the same thing is with horse paste. So I don't know. You got to try different things and see. Figure, it's all a learning curve. It's all of us having to figure stuff out. But there's natural things, and then they don't have these side effects, these other problems that become because of this. So that's always, to me, the way to go, because the other things just build up other problems. I guess this was something I just saw, what I didn't know about either. So these people who are going in and getting these surgeries to make their stomach smaller, make them not eat and stuff like that, I guess now AA is filling up with them. So there's all these women flooding into AA now who had eating disorders. So they just had eating addictions, and now that they can't eat because their stomach's too small, or when they try and eat too much, they get sick. So now they're all drinking. And so they've just taken one addiction and moved it into a new addiction. And so, because you got to heal this stuff. You can't just go and do these quick fixes. You got to go and see what the problem is of why it is that you're doing the thing to begin with. And an eating addiction is a real thing. It is like trying to soothe yourself. It's trying to comfort yourself. And but what you need to do is look at why stop yourself before you go into the eating is, what is it that I'm feeling? Why do I feel this way? What is it I'm trying to make myself feel better about? So if I go in and eat, uh, but this is, if you're using food for comfort, if you're using it as a drug, and so and then it's out of control, and then so you go do these surgeries, and instead of going ever and confronting the issue that you have, then you just try and problem solve it by fixing your body, making like your body's just causing it. No, it's something in your emotions that's causing it. And your body's showing you you've got a problem, but you don't want to look at that. You want to go and get a quick fix. Then you go and have them do that, and then you struggle because you can't eat. So then you need some other device, some other thing to take away your pain. And so drugs, alcohol, sex, is there some women who do that too. They get it, their body looking good, so then they just go use sex to feel this need. But you got to find where your needs are coming from, what it is, what your problems are, so that you can heal them and solve them. And then the other thing will go away. You'll stop eating so much once you start figuring out, like, and it's the whole thing is just reconfronting again, going at the issue in a different direction, like seeing, like every time somebody hurts my feelings, my first thing to do is to run and go eat, and then start looking at it as like, I don't know, when somebody's hurting your feelings, because there's a lot of people out there that will hurt people's feelings, and it's like, when do we start looking at them as the assholes? Why do we always take it on? It's like something about us. It's like people who are out there trying to hurt people's feelings are just assholes. They've got and they've got their own issues. They want to make everybody else feel bad because they feel bad. But it isn't, there's just one going right now. It's just like, what an asshole, man. I mean, seriously. This lady, so I don't know with the whole neighborhood. It seems that it is like, I don't know, kind of a typical neighborhood, because not everybody lives in fancy neighborhoods. A lot of people live in neighborhoods where, there's a lot of houses that aren't all fixed up, and people don't have a lot of money. And so, but in this neighborhood, so this lady, she goes out and she does her garden. And so in her front yard is just this giant garden, and she's on TikTok and shows videos and stuff. So she has this giant ass garden in her front yard with all these beautiful flowers. So, which that is a lot of positive things. Going in touch with nature, growing things, appreciating beauty, bringing in a place for the bees, like a lot of stuff from doing it. There's a lot of positives. And so she has this beautiful garden, and I don't know. I mean, everybody's gonna look at it the way they look at it. There's this woman who was walking past it every day. She would walk past it. And so she started talking to the lady. And so she started saying, anyways, whatever happened, they started being like, let's sit and have coffee. So they sat there and had coffee. Well, then the woman said she needed to go pee. Well, the woman didn't want anyone in her house because her house isn't all that fixed up inside. And so she, but she thought, okay, well, that would be weird if I didn't let her go pee. Well, the woman didn't go in and go pee. She went all through her house to go look at her house. And then, so then the woman who has a flower garden, I think online she's the grower or something. And so she gets the lady's number. And the lady was weird about giving her number. But then she gets the lady's number, and then she tells her, well, I had such a good time. Let's do that again. Come over and have coffee again. That was so fun. And the lady keeps being weird. So then after a couple days, then the lady tells her, look, I don't want to be your friend. I just wanted to come and see your house, because down here on our end of the street, we make fun of you. And we knew your house wasn't nice. We knew it wasn't nice inside, but you just sit out there in your garden all the time. Why don't you go in and fix your house up and start saying all this rude ass shit? It's like, to go in and, redo your kitchen is a lot of money. To go in, and then why the fuck like, and it's summertime. Why going in and doing stuff in the house is more of a winter kind of project anyways. Why aren't you allowed to go out and enjoy your yard and being outdoors and growing things? And why would these people be thinking, judging you, and then sit there and thinking, well, I bet your house isn't nice. That is their own bitterness and their own jealousy, because this woman has this nice garden and she's enjoying it, and people give her attention because her yard's so beautiful, and then they have to be like all snitty and, oh, I bet your house isn't nice, and all of their judgment and stuff. And then so she said all this rude stuff to this lady, and it really hurt this lady's feelings. And plus, she felt like the lady was really trying to be nice to her and really be friends with her. And so she felt really tricked, and she really had her feelings hurt. So anyways, a lot of people are talking about it on the internet, and that woman, it's making that woman be able to feel better, because of everybody else is like, that other lady's an asshole. And that's the thing, is like they say these things, and then we start doubting ourselves and feeling bad about ourselves. Like, should I not be in my garden? Am I being stupid? Should I be in there fixing my house? Am I making a bad house for my kid? You know, all that stuff. It doesn't matter. Your house doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to have love in it. You know, have the kids feel appreciated. Have them feel like that you value them. That's where you're going to find a happy home. And there's people in all different countries that don't live the way we do. And they don't just have houses and stuff the same way. It doesn't have to do with what you own. It doesn't mean your kids will have a good life or a bad life. It's the energy that you bring to the table. And some people have a green thumb. And why can't they be noticed for that? Why can't they be seen for being able to create a beautiful yard? Not everybody can do it. And but then when you can't do it, to take it out in jealousy and bitterness and judgment and trying to hurt somebody's feelings, well, that's where we got to start seeing that they're the asshole. But we're not doing anything wrong. Those people are just bitter and jealous and hateful. And why do we give a shit what people like that think of us? It's like, that's where we got to turn the tables. We got to start looking at things different. We don't need to change ourselves. You don't need to go in and start figuring out like, well, if I buy a can of paint and I paint this and I do that, who fucking cares? Who cares if, I mean, especially when your kids are little, they do tear shit up. And so why do you need to fix it up? I mean, you got years ahead. Your kids are a temporary thing. Your kids are only there a small time, and you don't realize it when you're in the mix of it. But then when you go past it, all of a sudden it was like, dang, that was over already? And when you're in it, it feels like it's never ending. But then once your kids are grown and move out, then it's the time like, now I can fix my house up however I want. I can get a white-ass couch if I want. I can do whatever the fuck I want, then fix it up. But when your kids are little, if they have a bed, you know, and they have dishes to eat off of, they have a bed to sleep in, they got clothes to wear to school, they got somewhere to wash their clothes, like there's basic things that it's like, if you're providing these basic things, and who fucking cares if the walls need to be painted or the cabinets are outdated or your floor needs to be replaced. Like, tons of people need their floor replaced. Floors are fucking expensive as fuck. And I just think, man, what a hateful, hateful person that is. And there's just been, throughout our world, we've all conformed to try and make that hateful people happy. It's like, this has got to change. You know, and it did build up to insanity, where it started being like, if I'm a man and you don't call me a woman, then you're the bad person. It's like, I can't live in your crazy world. It's like, we got to be what's real, you know? But it did just keep building and building and building to the people who want control, who don't feel good about themselves, just making it everybody else's problem. But this is the turning the tables. And how do we turn the tables? By recognition, by seeing, and believing in ourselves, by knowing, building ourselves up and being like, well, fuck, man, I can fucking grow a good-ass garden. Cabinets may need to be replaced. I may need a new floor. Maybe I need to paint my walls, but, you know, it's not detrimental. That doesn't mean your kids are having a bad life because your walls aren't painted. You don't decorate great in the house. There's plenty of women who are not good decorators who have great kids. So it's not a, you know, a for sure thing, you know, because you're not a good decorator. And then there's some of us who are good decorators. But it's, you know, I'm a good decorator, but I'm not a green thumb. And yeah, I can have envy, but see where you take envy too far. I can look at somebody and be like, man, I wish I could grow stuff like that. I wish I could have that good a garden. I wish I could grow all that beautiful stuff. But Some people can and some people can't, but then I can do other things. Like, we all have things that we're good at, but then we gotta also give people props for the things they're good at. Not just be like, well, I'm not good at that, so fuck them. It's like, we gotta change our attitudes, you know? We gotta become kinder, nicer, gentler people. And, you know, when it starts, like when kids are young, you know, raising them right, raising them to be thoughtful, raising them to be mindful, raising them to slow down and be more kind and considerate, you know? That's the world that we want to create. And get out of this one that's so toxic and hateful, and everybody's mad and angry and divisive and just looking for a supercharge. Just charge me up and get me drugged out and I'll be good. It's like, I don't know. So anyways, I think you get where I'm going, and I just keep talking and talking. So let's just look at my hair. And I can see, there was an angle when I looked in the mirror. You can see this lump that I'm dealing with. Right now it's not so big and bad, but that's the botulism, you know, that's the growth. It's right there, right by my eye where the dark spot was. I couldn't see past. But my eyes have gotten better and better and better. But I'm still battling this thing. So anyways, but let's look at how much my hair grew overnight. How much did it grow? Not much. And then I have had a couple of days with those face wipes. They're supposed to take away fine lines and any discoloration or whatever on your face. So I don't know. But this, I have a few spots that are pretty big. Like, I know this one. I have one that's right in my eye, one right here. I have a lot of them, which I don't think that they're that, I don't know. To me, it just looks like skin. It just looks like a regular face. But, you know, everybody's used to foundation faces, and everybody's supposed to look smooth, I guess. But I don't know. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. If they work, then I would be like, well, I don't know. Maybe they're not, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying it just to see. So, anyways, let's look at this. I think it looks better. I think that looks better. So, anyways, that's that. But I'm telling you, the whole problem in our society, even the most hateful people, it's because they don't love themselves. It's because they hate themselves. They think they're a rotten piece of shit. And I don't think the answer is just going, well, Jesus will save me. Because, you know, I'm not worthy of anything. I think you got to show you your own self, your own self-worth, that you have the capability of changing and go in a direction of change, do things differently, and see new results, and feel proud of yourself. Don't forget to feel proud of yourself, because when you're doing things differently, there's a reason to be proud of yourself. It's hard to break these chains. It's hard to make change. And it's easy to just continue the same patterns and just go and go and go and get nowhere. So be proud of yourself when you make changes. And remember to learn how to love yourself, love everybody else, and how to have the day you want. Because it is up to you. You can listen to the haters, or you can listen to yourself. Build yourself up. Love yourself. And anyways, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. So let's just hope that today brings us big changes, like financial, whatever, big changes, arrest, whatever. Just move us in the direction. The train's taking off. We're ready to speed up. So anyways, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.